Hi, and welcome to this afternoon webinar where we're going to take a look at stock reporting in your uniform program. There's quite a few different reports, so we'll try and point you in the right direction. And also we'll just show you a little bit on Report Writer, because that's a great way of being able to just produce a customized list. So Emma will take you through that now. There will be a short movie that will come out tomorrow. And if you've got any questions, please type them in. Otherwise, yeah, please give us a call after the webinar and we will try our best to help. So first of all, Em, where about is the movement book? Where will we find that?
So to get to your movement book, if you go to the cow's head and then into herd, you've got the herd register here. Clicking on that, it gives you an overview of all the animals when they came onto farm, left farm, etc. And in here you can go into print preview and then it comes up with your movement book, and then you can flick to the next page using the green arrows at the top there, and it will tell you how many pages in that movement book are displayed. And from here you can save it or email it or print it off if you wish.
Okay, so that's our movement book. That's the link about to start running, so we've stopped that. What about actually breaking animals down, like a stock check? So I can see the number of animals aged, or animal types aged under 3 months and things like that.
Yeah, so stock check, again, it's back into cow's head and into herd. You've got stock check here. If you click on that one, it gives you an overview of all the beef that are over 6 months, beef that are 3 to 6, and 0 to 3 if you had any on there, and then your heifers and so on. It will just bring up all the animals in a breakdown. If you go into properties, you can change the date that you're looking at, and also using the selection on, you can see temporary movements as well based on like their location. And if you go in summary at the bottom here, it just gives you an overview of just the figures based on the date that's selected at the top. So it's just a quick way of seeing how many animals fall into which animal type and age group.
Okay, so that gives me the herd stock numbers on a date. What about for the accounts, herd size per month?
Okay, so if you go back into the cow's head and herd, here you've got herd size per month. If we click on that one, just wait for it to display. So this is this year, and you can change the year and look at the previous year in properties if you wish. And then it gives you every single month here and how many animals at what age and what animal type were accountable during the months. And then at the bottom, you've got the overall totals.
Okay, have we got one report where I can see, for example, all the animals that were born, were purchased, or maybe transferred or sold?
Yep, so in your cow's head again, and back into herd, you've got animal movements. If we go into the animal movements, it comes up with all these tabs at the top. So you've got the start, and then all the births in here, any purchases, your sales, deaths, and it all breaks it down by their category and also age as well. And then any that are transferred, and then the end amount. Again, in your properties here, you can change the date range you're looking over. If you wanted to look over the last 3 months or 6 months, or you can look over the previous years.
So yeah, just do like that. It just does it for that calendar year.
Yeah, it would just change it for you. And again, you can print that off.
Okay, one of the questions we got on the help desk yesterday was they wanted animals that were beef animals born within a specific period. So you've shown all the set reports there, you've shown how you can use properties, but how would we create a user-defined report just to put out all the beef animals born maybe between certain dates?
Okay, so report writer, if there's a report that you want to create that's just got basic information on, or if there's a report that you want that's a bit more unique, if you go to the cow's head and then herd, you've got report writer in here, and this is where you can create your own reports. And to do that, if you click on the green plus button, that will create a new report. You've got category here, which is a breakdown of all the items you can pull the report on. So general animal data, here you would have information about like the ear tag, sex, date of birth. Reproduction, you would have like the lactation number, last calving date, and so on. So what you want to do is select the options you want on your report and move them into this selected column. So everything in the selected column is going to be all the columns on your report. I tend to go to all, and at the top type in what it is I want in my report. So if I want ear tag in there, I would type ear and it would just find everything that matches a lot quicker. So then I can move that over into my report that I want to pull. So I've got ear tag in there. Just going to type in birth, the date of birth, and move that over. I also want the animal type. And what I also would like is a date sold, especially if they're beef. So we'll put that on there as well. And then this at the bottom right, this tells you how many animals are coming up on your report that matches what you've got in the selected. So at the moment it's saying 166 animals have ear tags and date of births, which is good. And then in the filter tab, this is where you can filter down those animals and only bring back the animals that you want. So we want to filter on date of birth. So we want to find all the beef that were born since January to now. So again, just like the first screen, we're going to filter on birth. So I'm just going to type in date of birth in there. And then we want to put the date range in there. So we want all the animals that were born between January the 1st to today, for example. And you can put more than one filter in here. So if you wanted another filter and did it on, say, breeds, you can put that in there as well. So you can add like another line if you want to. Press next, and then you need to name this report something that you'll be able to find again. So if we do beef born, and then for our costings, and then press next. So at the moment it's looking like we've got no animals on this report, and the reason being is because we've got dairy selected and there's no young stock selected. So obviously none of these animals would match ones that were born this year in since January. So because we want the beef on there, we're going to select beef, untick dairy, and also put on there calves to sell and steers. And we still have no animals, and that's because young stock isn't ticked. And we also want historic and beef bulls. And then press, so now we've got 15 animals, we'll press finish. So these are all the animals that were born this year, since January to now. We can see that the animal type is beef bull, and then one of them there we can see was born in April and sold in July. To create the same but for your dairy, if you wanted to write a report on those, you can just edit this list by pressing the pencil icon. So everything on here is what we would expect on the dairy report. Press next. We still want to filter on that date of birth range. Next again. And because we're using the same list, we don't want to overwrite it. We want to save it as a new list. So then we've got both of them, two lists, one beef, and then we also want this one, but change the name to dairy. So we can find it easier in our reports. Press next, and then we just untick all of the beefs that we've got ticked here, only select dairy. We are ticking historic because animals that won't be on farm now, they would have been born since January and should be on our report even if they're not on farm now. So we want historic on there, otherwise the date sold column would always be blank. And we've got our number of animals on this report is 58. So if we press finish, we can see that we've now got all the animals that are dairy that were born since January. And in our report writer, we've got dairy born and then beef born. And pinning your report writer to the top of the screen, you've also got that drop down arrow if you have more than one report writer in there. And you'll see those two reports that we've created is at the top there. So we can always go back into it. So if we were going in a couple months later, can always go back in by pressing the pencil icon, going to the filter, and then the only thing we would need to change then on each report is the date range that we're looking at.
Okay, I think that's a super way of explaining it. So really what you have is you have the option of a lot of fixed reports in there. So it's just a question really of, looking for the report that you want. Is it on a particular day? Are you looking for a month? And you then have the flexibility with the report writer to create your own bespoke program, and that will then be saved. So hopefully that's given you an overview of the flexibility of the stock reporting within Uniform. We've got quite a big group today. We'll just see if we've got any questions.